I'm Elena and I'm very excited to talk to you about Shades of Grey by Jasper Fforde because I really love this book. I give it 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, which is not something that I do often. Just to make you get a general idea of how rare an event that is, out of the 29 books that I've read so far this year, only 4, including Shades of Grey, have gotten full marks from me. So you can imagine how surprised I was to find out on Twitter that not everyone loved Shades of Grey as much as I did, which is why I decided to make a review for this and try to convince you to pick this up. Shades of Grey is set in Chromatesia, which used to be the United States, in a not very well defined future. One of the many odd things of Chromatesia is the fact that people can no longer see the full range of colors. They can usually see only one, and depending on what color you can see and how much of that color you can see, your place in society is determined. Our main character, Eddie Russet, is a red, as his show name suggests, and although he's been sent to the strange village of East Carmine for punishment, he still has high hopes for his future because, number one, he can see quite a lot of red, or at least he thinks so, because he hasn't been officially tested yet. And number two, he is kind of smart. He likes to think through what he sees and what he hears, and that's a good thing, right? Wrong, because thinking leads to questioning, and the system does not like to be questioned. Which is why Eddie Russet finds himself in quite a few tricky situations, and finally he finds himself at the bottom of a carnivorous tree being digested. As he's drowning in digestive juices, Eddie tries to come to terms with the shocking truths he's been able to find out in the last few days, and he relives these last few days that have led him to the bottom of a Yetadeo tree. And it is these musings that we sort of eavesdrop on. I loved how the moment I was introduced to Eddie Russet's life was the moment he was bidding it farewell, but it was also a bit sad because as I found out more about his story, I really grew fond of him. I have to say that Eddie Russet was not the best decision maker. He definitely made quite a few wrong turns along the way. But while I could see that those decisions were not the best, they were not helping him, I still have to say that his foolishness never irritated me, which is quite surprising. So I started thinking of why that was, and I figured that if I had found myself in his shoes, I would have made the same mistakes. The first 150 pages of this book are not easy to get through. I had problems myself, but I kept reading because of the humor. The humor in this book is just fantastic. After the first bit, all the problems I had with Shades of Grey just disappeared. The pending matters that bothered me got resolved just the way I would have wanted them to, without any way being predictable. Actually, was quite the opposite. Because in Chromatesia, you really have to follow the rules to survive, and these rules are so ridiculous that until the very end, I could not navigate them at all. So since the characters' actions were very strictly bound to the rules, I could not predict their actions. By the time I'd read about 90% of the novel, I'd already decided I was gonna give it 4 out of 5 stars. But that last 10% just forced me to give it 5 stars because it was perfect. I can't wait to read the next books in this series because yes, this is a series, I forgot to tell you. Shades of Grey was such a funny, refreshing sci-fi. I absolutely adored it. It was full of quirky little touches, and yeah, it has to do a lot with spoons and swans and lightning, and it was hilarious. Let me know in the comments if you've read Shades of Grey, if you've liked it, if you disliked it, or if you read anything else by Jasper Fforde and if you recommend it or not. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!